everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tori Brame and I'm glad you're here. Before I forget, just like and subscribe if you want. I'm not offended if you don't, but if you do, it super helps me out. So if you could, that'd be awesome. Today, I just want to talk about something that I really have no medical background to talk about, but it's just kind of my own ponderings and my experiences with different medications and my brain and how they affect my brain. The title of this video is, Did Risperidone Break My Brain? So if you don't know my story, if this is your first video that you're watching, number one, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And number two, let me just give you a quick recap. In 2017, I got diagnosed with systemic lupus erythematosus, SLE. I was bedridden, close to death, had lost all my hair, all my weight, And so my doctor, who was a primary care doctor and not a rheumatologist, prescribed very high dose steroids and sent me home. So I started developing an allergic reaction to the prednisone that he gave me, and he switched me to dexamethasone, which was also a very high dose. Then he went on vacation. So I did not sleep for 10 days, and around day 7, I started experiencing a high level of psychosis. So by day 10, I was in the Psych Ward in downtown Indianapolis. They weaned me off the steroids and put me on risperidone for another 6 weeks until they completely weaned me off of that as well. I have struggled with anxiety and depression pretty much since I was 10 years old, and it's always been something that I could get back out of until after I got off the risperidone. So after I got off the risperidone, I really was not able to climb back out of it. And, through my whole lupus diagnosis and, of course, the psych ward, after that, I was diagnosed with medical PTSD. Not directly after that, I actually got diagnosed with that when I was going through postpartum depression after my son, which was a year later. So I tried everything. I tried meditation, exercise. My diet was absolutely impeccable. I was eating nothing that wasn't really good for me. And I definitely hit spurts where I was less depressed, where I didn't experience an overall hopelessness, but I was not able to get excited. I was not enjoying music. I was not really able to be in that space where I'm light and feeling happy and stuff like that until I got on Wellbutrin this past year. Now, I had tried other antidepressants, Lupus, Zoloft, Lexapro, hydroxyzine, I think that's all of them, and then as well as some all-natural supplements like H2P5 and holy basil and stuff like that. But I was not able to kind of come back into myself until I got on the Wellbutrin. And so the thing that makes me think that maybe I had some kind of chemical imbalance with the risperidone that I was not able to kind of correct naturally is that it takes away dopamine. It takes away serotonin and dopamine, and anytime I was on a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor or SSRI, I did not feel better. I felt worse. However, when they gave me more dopamine on the Wellbutrin, that is when I started feeling more myself. So I'm wondering if risperidone just really took away my ability to either produce dopamine or keep it in my system longer or something like that. I looked it up, the main reason they prescribe risperidone to people is for more long-term things like irritability due to autism or bipolar disorder or schizophrenia. And I did not have any of those. I had a one-off experience of psychosis that I was able to come back from. So it really does make me wonder if I needed something as heavy hitting as that, or if I was able, given the right circumstances, the right care, there were a lot of things going on at the time that I was not really in an ideal situation, which, through no fault of anybody involved. It was just how the cards played out. But I wonder if I hadn't been in the psych ward, if I hadn't in an environment where they gave me something as strong as risperidone, if I could have evened out on my own, if I could have just like leveled out after the psychosis with the subtraction of the steroids. Of course, after they did take the steroids away, I was in and out of the hospital for the next like month or so just with lupus symptoms, because without the steroids, it's really hard to treat lupus. And so I had to wait for the hydroxychloroquine to work, and there were just a lot of factors. I started thinking about this a few months ago, just with Wellbutrin being the only thing that worked, and then the kind of line in the sand with the risperidone. Like after I got off of that, I was not able to come back a happy place. Like honestly, that's the best way I can put it, because like I was not able to come back to a place of like deep satisfaction like I had in other points in my life. Like, you know, of course, in high school years and then again in college, like I went through some bouts of pretty severe depression, but I was always able to come back from that without medication. And this time I was not able to come back without medication. And at this point, like I feel more myself than I have in years. And I'm just wondering, like, if I ever can get off the Wellbutrin, or if it was just something that risperidone broke. Like maybe risperidone just broke that inside my brain, where it's like I can't come back from that. So again, I'm not a doctor. I have zero medical background. I'm just talking about my experience, and yeah, I want to know what you guys think. Like you know, if you have been or are on risperidone, I want to know how it's going, because that is probably the most miserable drug I've ever been on. It is, however, I think necessary for certain people, especially if they have more long-term diseases like schizophrenia or bipolar. And, you know, maybe it is the only thing that works for them, but I do think it was kind of overkill in my case. And I think I'm still experiencing like lasting effects from that. So that's all I got. Thank you guys for hanging out and listening to me ramble, and I will talk to you guys later.